Wait a minute.
This is Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Critic, and I shoot straight from the hip.
Yeah, you know I'm always shooting straight from the hip.
Let's take a trip around the curve. Hey everybody! Oh boy, that's super, super close. Let me pull her all the way back. I was like, just face. Whew, okay. Hey, everybody. It's your girl, Carla Renata, a.k.a. the Curvy Film Critic. You have tuned into my podcast where I do reviews and interviews every once in a while. And today I have a fabulous interview with the lovely Andre Holland. But before I get into that, I always tell you what I did the week before. My nose is itching. I don't know why it's itching like that. Anyway, and what I'll be up to later on. So we're going to get into this Jussie Smollett documentary that is streaming on Netflix. I told you we're going to talk about Love Brooklyn, which is being released, having a limited release on August 29th and a nationwide release on September 5th. But I have the lovely Andre Holland here to talk to me about that. And then we're going to talk about this film called Relay that I absolutely love, 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 love. And then we're going to talk about Zha II, because I love this movie so much. It gave me life. Anywho, I talk about what I did the week before. So what I did the week before is that I hooked up with Andre Holland prior to this, and we did a Q&A for Film Independent to discuss all things Love Brooklyn. And I wore the little love ring in honor of the film. Get it? Love Brooklyn and a love ring, whatever. Y'all know what I mean. And then I unexpectedly ended up co-hosting the AFCA TV honors along with the beautiful and lovely Jordan Sparks. The African American Film Critics Association is co-founded by Gil Robertson and Sean Edwards. And I believe Wilson Morales had something to do with that as well at some point. But that organization is comprised of all African American film critics from all over the globe. So we have the TV honors, we have the Africa Awards, and I think they may do one other. They do a Broadway celebration in the fall. But Jordan and I filled in for someone who was ill that was supposed to host, and Jordan and I, looking like Mutt and Jeff, filled in to host yesterday afternoon. There's a couple of pictures of us cutting up, and all the things. All right, and then there's some moments that I did have by myself. It was an evening or an afternoon of honoring a lot of women like these three women right here, these showrunners. Mara Brock-Akil, who has Forever on Netflix, Felicia Henderson, who created Soul Food, Gina Prince Blythewood, y'all know Love and Basketball. There they are. They are like the trifecta of female showrunners. The only person that's missing is Yvette Lee Bowser and a couple of other ones. But we also honored Miss Tina Perry, who is the main maven over at OWN, other than Miss Oprah Winfrey. We honored Io Davis, who runs Disney branded television. And then I personally was able to give awards to two people that I love. Denise Nicholas. Now, if you don't know who Denise Nicholas is, back in the 70s, I want to say, there was a show on television called Room 222, and she played Liz McIntyre. And baby, during that time, there were only two black women that were stars of TV shows. It was her and Diane Carroll. That was it. Diane Carroll and Julia, and her playing Liz McIntyre on 222. That was it. She is an icon, and she got an icon award, and it is very, very well deserved. She stepped away from the acting spotlight and is now more of an author of sorts, but she's an amazing person. And then I had an opportunity to present this award to Kathy Bates. Y'all know Oscar winner Kathy Bates. She got an award yesterday, and is for her role of playing Maddie on Matlock on CBS. She is everything that you think she is and more. The most lovely, most gracious, most down-to-earth person. Baby, she had the room in a puddle of tears with her acceptance speech. It was absolutely fantabulous. This young lady right here, Neka Onaora, she created Watch Out for the Big Girls with Lizzo and was nominated for and won her first Emmy. And we honored her at the Africa TV Honors yesterday as well. We also honored Sterling K. Brown, Megan Good, among others. And I just love this picture of Sterling and his wife. They are like couple goals for real, y'all. I love them so much. And they're both from my hometown of St. Louis, Missouri. Again, it was called the AFCA TV Honors, where we celebrate the best in television among the African American community. I loved it so much. All right, so I'm also going to talk a little bit because next week I go to the Telluride Film Festival, and then right behind that I go to the Toronto International Film Festival. It's award season, y'all. It's about to be off and popping. But before I get into all of that, let me see what's over here being said. So, Brandon says Zha II was amazing. I've watched the subbed version online. It's really a lovely film. I'm gonna talk about it. And he said, and Zootopia 2 is 3 months away. Yes, it is. Lavishly Lux Studio. Oh, a Dallas wedding photographer. Okay. Here's my thought. I think he could have paid a few white guys to be out there to just throw the cops off. I guess you're talking about the Jussie Smollett documentary. I'm gonna get into that. There's a lot to unpack there, for real, for real. But thank you for weighing in. Appreciate you. All right. So now that I've said all that, let's unpack this Jussie Smollett documentary. So it's streaming on Netflix. It started streaming, I think, maybe a couple of days ago. And what I'll say about it is this right here. Jussie, so for those of you who don't know who Jussie Smollett is, let me break it down for you. Jussie Smollett is the brother of Journey Smollett, and it's about 6 or 7 of them. And I think most of the children in the family were acting or are acting or in the business in some capacity. But Jussie was the star of a hit TV series on Fox called Empire. It starred Taraji P. Henson, Terrence Howard, and a lot of newbies who have made their way further on into the industry as we are in it right now. But he was the breakout star of Empire. He played the character of Jamal. He played a LGBTQ son of somebody who was very, very, very potently heterosexual, played by Terrence Howard. And at the height of that show's popularity, you turned on the news, and a little after 2 a.m. on this polar vortex day in Chicago, Jussie went to a Subway to get a sandwich and was allegedly attacked by 2 white men, proclaiming to be from MAGA, leaving him with a noose around his neck. Now, you know, I use the word allegedly because I was not there. I don't know what any of these people are saying is true or not. So I'm saying allegedly because I'm not trying to get sued. So that's the gist of it. This documentary lays out every possible angle of this situation that you can think of. It lays out the point of view from the Chicago PD, who, like the New York Police Department, is notoriously has a storied history of lies and corruption and cover up. There's 2 eyewitnesses that this I didn't know about. There were 2 eyewitnesses, one at a hotel and one who lived in the same building as Jussie, who was walking her dogs. Those 2 people claimed to have seen these 2 white men that Jussie spoke of, but for some reason, I don't recall ever hearing that in the press. I really don't. All I remember hearing about is the 2 Nigerian brothers, and Ola and Bola, I think were their names. I just remember hearing about the 2 Nigerian brothers and how they said that they alleged that Jussie paid them off to beat him up to make it look like he was attacked by MAGA people because he was not happy with his pay on Empire at Fox. That's what the story was at the time. Now this documentary is throwing all kinds of questions up with these 2 eyewitnesses. I'm like, ooh, never heard of them. Why was that evidence suppressed? Never heard of it. And it really outlines how Jussie literally went from being the prince of episodic television to being a branded liar and having his career tank all the way down in the bottom of the ocean. Like, just his career tanked all the way because he went from being a beloved member of the African American community to people going, oh wow, he lied about it. And they, just as quickly as they supported him, those same people turned around and turned their back on him. As a matter of fact, while he was going through the whole thing of being in jail, not being in jail, being accused, not being accused, the powers that be at Empire let him go. And for that particular season, they did not feature him in the last two episodes of that season. So there was that. The thing about the, and I'm gonna flip back to the Nigerian brothers for a minute. The thing about the Nigerian brothers is that they um, apparently, so the another theory is, so the one theory is the truth that Jussie is telling about the two white dudes, and the other theory is these two Nigerian dudes were paid off by Jussie. Okay, so let's just talk about. I already talked about the two white people and the witnesses and all that. Let's talk about this theory with the Nigerian dudes. So apparently, one of the Nigerian brothers had a record, and apparently, the Chicago PD threatened them that they would arrest them, jack up their life if they didn't corroborate the Chicago PD story of the brothers being paid off by Jussie. And apparently, they did a uh, breakdown of the brothers' apartment where they found a ridiculous amount of assault weapons in there. I mean, like Glocks, all kinds of stuff. And so it is believed in one theory that the brothers may have cut a deal with Chicago PD to avoid from going to jail because they were arrested on the tarmac as they came back from Nigeria because apparently they mysteriously disappeared when the police started looking for them and they had gone to Nigeria and were on their way back. Jussie's version of paying them is that he paid them for some it was a drug that he was using to melt belly fat that could only be found at that time in Nigeria. So he supposedly paid the brothers for this drug so that he could melt belly fat. It's it's a lot to say about that documentary, and when you finish watching it, it does leave you with questions like, did this happen? Did it not happen? Was he lying? Was it some white dudes? Was it some black dudes? Like, you end up with all these questions because you're not really sure. Like, you're not when you watch it, you're still not sure what the situation is. But what I will say is, I hope the brother comes out on the other side all right because he is struggling. Yeah, Jesse's innocent, crazy. Yeah, Four Deuce Films. I mean, I'm gonna say that when I watched it, I'm not gonna lie. When everything first went down, I was like, oh my God, that's horrible. And then when stuff started to shift, I was like, oh my God, he's lying. And now this document, then they let him out. And I'm like, well, how are they going to let him out if he's lying? But there was something about him consistently, his story never changed. The facts of his story never changed. And I'm like a true crime buff. And this is what I know from watching True Crime for Jesus, that in any true crime story or incident, if somebody is lying at some point, their story switches up and they change the facts, they change all kinds of stuff, kind of shifts and changes and doesn't kind of add up. What I will say about him is that the facts of the story, the way he laid it out, has never shifted, it's never changed. He's told the exact same story. And the fact that these two, the neighbor in his building told the exact same story that he told, and the security guard at the hotel close by told the exact same story that Jussie told. And Jussie has never met these people, don't know them. The woman says she spoke to him once in an elevator like months prior to that event. But I will leave it up to y'all's imagination. You go and check it out. It's streaming on Netflix. It what is it called? I have a picture up here somewhere. Oh, I don't have that picture. Anyway, um, but I have a picture of him. Just go and check it out and see what you think. I would love to know what y'all think about it because I walked away from it completely just gobsmacked and like I don't, at this point, I don't even know what to believe. But on to happier things to talk about. Zha II is an A24 film that hit theaters today. It's directed by Zha II, and it was originally released earlier this year on February 14th, the first day of the Chinese New Year. The film grossed then $2.2 billion by March, making it the most successful anime movie and high-grossing non-English language movie of all time, as well as the faith as well as the first highest grossing movie in history worldwide. That's a lot to say, right? I was like, did I say all that right? I'm not sure. But this film made history twice, basically, is what it is. It took 5 years to make it. Um, and it employed 4,000. The most important thing that you want to know about it, which I always love when I get these facts about movies, is that it employed over 4,000 people across 138 Chinese animation companies. I'm going to say that again. Zha II employed over 4,000 people across 138 Chinese animation companies. The film includes 2,400 animation shots and 1,900 special effects shots. I love everything about that. And it's based on the iconic mythological characters. A rebellious young boy, Zha is feared by the gods and born to mortal parents with wild, uncontrolled powers. Now he's faced with an ancient force intent on destroying humanity. He must grow up to become the hero the world needs. This is what I'll say. Oh, so what I also say is many younger Chinese viewers, when they saw this film back in February, a lot of them said that they saw themselves in Zha, who is depicted in the film as playful and sensitive and willing to conform, right? But like anyone eager to be understood and accepted, he widely quips in the movie, so what? So what if I'm a demon? And that became the rallying cry of self-expression and rejection of labels in a restrictive world. Baby, I know this is an anime film, but it's an anime film that is deep. It's the animation in it is very, very beautiful. It's very realistic. It has this whole theme of rebirth and renewal. They build new bodies with a sacred lotus flower. Now, let me tell you, I'm Buddhist, so I really leaned into the thing about them rebirthing people through a lotus flower, because in Buddhism, the lotus flower is a power is a symbol of power and purity and enlightenment and rebirth. That's what the lotus flower means. It is the only flower that goes through a journey of darkness and is still able to bloom. It is grown in dirty, muddy waters, but is still able to grow and bloom and flourish. And that is the theme of the movie. It's about managing grief and rage versus being good or evil. And it's one of those things where it either serves you to be good or it serves you to give in to evil. I'm telling you, the film is deep. It is a deep film. I see a lot of comments coming up here. Let me weigh in on what y'all got to say. Oh, you're talking about the new Peanut special on Apple Plus. Okay. K-pop Demon Hunters was great too. I was gonna see that, but I'm like, I don't know about that one. um, Queen to Queen. I literally just got finished doing a live on this and I stumbled on your channel. Well, thank you, Queen to Queen and Queen to Queen. I thank you for popping in. You said, I'm speaking on the Jussie Smollett Netflix special. I'm newly subscribed to your channel. Thank you for the subscription, sis. I will subscribe to yours when I finish this live. Thank you. Yeah, it's a situation, that Jussie Smollett situation. It really is. It's something to behold, for sure, for sure. All right, let me get back to my thoughts on Zha. The other thing that happens in Zha is that there's a pre-Roman Empire that's steeped in Asian culture, which I really loved watching that unfold. And the one thing I love the most out of this film is that oftentimes with our parents, they want a life that was better for us than they had for themselves. And they have a tendency to live in the past. But as their children, we have a whole opportunity to create a whole nother life that was better than the life that our parents had, and a life that we can make better for our parents. And that to me was the underlying theme of this movie. Again, it's called Nija. It's in theaters right now, y'all. It is an A24 joint. You want to check it out for sure, for sure. All right, Riz Ahmed, my boy is having a moment. He is definitely having a moment. He has a film that's coming out. He's in a film now called Relay, but he has a film coming out where he's playing the lead role of Hamlet, and it's got a lot of buzz on it going into awards season. There's a lot of anticipation about him in this film, and he seems to be on a roll, and I'm loving that for him. But in Relay, Riz is playing a world class fixer who specializes in brokering lucrative payoffs between corrupt corporations and individuals who threaten their ruin. He keeps his identity a secret through meticulous planning and always follows an exacting set of rules. But when a message arrives one day from a potential client needing his protection just to stay alive, the rules quickly start to change. Let me tell you something about this movie. Let me come back on camera. Let me tell you something about this movie. This movie, the premise is a great premise, but it is slow. It is so slow to unfold. And I was watching it with bated breath because this is one of the films that I really, 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 really wanted to watch because I'm a big Riz Ahmed fan. But child, it was slow. It didn't start to pick up until like the last chapter of the film. And finally it was like, and then in the last chapter of the film, something goes down that you don't expect to go down. And it's like a nice little twist. But I'm like, it took y'all all that time to get to that? Like, for real? I was so annoyed. But what I was not annoyed at was Riz Ahmed's acting. He has this pensive thing that he does that works for any character that he inhabits without saying a word. I absolutely love it. It also deals with the premise of whistleblowers because it's centered around this young lady played by Lily James who blows the whistle on a company that she works for, which is a pharmaceutical company. Um, and it makes me wonder that I love the idea of that about the whole whistleblower thing and how it that's intriguing to me. But does this really happen? Does this really happen in real life when people blow the whistle? Is there like a whole little contingency of spies somewhere waiting to take them down because they don't want their company taken down? And it made me think about, is this what happened during Watergate? Is this what happened with 47? Is this why 47 can't be taken down? I mean, it does leave you with a lot of questions, wondering, ooh, I wonder how this is going to play out. But what I will say is, if you are a spy, thriller, adventure, action adventure junkie, you're going to love Relay. I just wish that the action had unfolded a little sooner than it did. But it's a good film. It's not a bad film. It's a good film. All right. So we've talked about Nija. We've talked about Jussie. And we've talked about Miss Relay. Now we're going to get into Miss Love Brooklyn. Love Brooklyn is directed by Rachel Holder, is produced by Andre Holland, is star and Steven Soderbergh. It clocks in at an hour 37 minutes, and Andre is a writer in this named Roger who navigates complicated relationships with his ex, played by Nicole Bahari, who's an art gallery owner, and his current lover, a newly single mom, played by my fabulous sister friend, DeWanda Wise, with the support of his best friend, Roy Wood Jr., who you guys may know from The Daily Show and so many other things. It's a modern romance against the rapidly changing landscape of Brooklyn, New York, and it had a stellar Sundance premiere. I want to talk a little bit before I get into this interview with Andre and get into the film a little bit more. I want to talk about how when it played at Sundance, you were able to, I did Sundance virtually. I didn't go on the mountain this year, but you were able to do festival from home virtually. And I was trying to festival from home. And this was one of the films I really desperately wanted to see. If you did not clock in I guess like the first couple of hours that it streamed live, you weren't able to see it because some clown, I don't know who it was, if I ever see them on the street, just saying, no, I'm kidding. Some journalist or somebody that had access to the virtual screening did something nefarious, and so Sundance took the whole film down. That happened with a couple of titles. They just took titles down so you couldn't see it. So I was not able to see the film until this time of the year. And what is this? Almost September. So it's been almost 9 months since I haven't been able to see the film. But now that I have seen it, I'm in love with this film. It is so beautifully done. It's so beautifully directed. It's so beautifully written. It's so beautifully acted. And it has a character all of its own. The borough of Brooklyn, y'all. Um, Andre Holland, for me, is one of those actors up there with Sterling K. Brown. They're just some of the best actors of this generation. They always do solid work. Their projects never suck. You're never like, oh, they were good, but the project, I never have to say that about a movie where I see Andre Holland in it. I never have to say that when I see anything with Sterling K. Brown in it. And I'm telling you something, as an African American woman and an African American film critic in this space, to be able to say that about any title is a blessing. When I watched Love Brooklyn, I was reminded, I'm like, it reminds me of Love Jones. Because for my generation, Love Jones was the ish. Love Jones was the film where we were all running the poetry bars and trying to, get our groove on in a poetry bar. But this one is not taking place in a poetry bar. It's taking place, there's so many elements of it that are so cool. Like there's a museum moment where between Nicole and Andre, where it's very reminiscent of Harry Met Sally. And I love that for them. I loved everything about that. Um, what else did I love? Oh yeah, uh, Nicole Bahari and DeWanda Wise are equally as stellar as Andre Holland is in this. Nicole is a little more bohemian in this film, which is kind of unusual for her, and I love that for her as an art dealer whose art place is about to be the victim of gentrification. So you can hear while she's in her art shop, you can hear next door them tearing down a place next door to gentrify the neighborhood, and she's like holding firm and not trying to go nowhere. And then you have DeWanda, who's a mom in this film, and she's trying to put herself out there to date. She really is, but she's still mourning the loss of her husband and her best friend, and she's still trying to raise this daughter. So there's a lot going on there for her. Roy Wood Jr., who plays Roger's best friend, aka Andre Holland, he's known for his comedy prowess, but in this he's being a little more serious, and it's just beautifully cast, y'all, and it's a beautiful film, and it's going to be in select theaters on August 29th, which is in just a few days. Please, please, please get out and see it. And then it goes nationwide on September 5th, as does Highest to Lowest. Please, y'all, please, please, please go see these films and support them. Indie film is so important, and they need the support of the audiences in order for the films to survive or even make a blip on the radar. So please check it out. But now that I've given you my plea and begged you within an inch of my life to go see it, I'm going to let Andre tell you a little bit more about his character, the film, and the borough of Brooklyn, and how he fell in love with it in this interview that we did about Love in Brooklyn, the film Love Brooklyn. I was thinking about this film, and I was saying that there was someone that I dated at one point that said to me that he had told his son about me that what always feels good to you ain't always good for you. And when I watched this film, I felt like that was a theme for Roger, because Roger seemed to be one of these men that was being indecisive while casting these women in different roles in his world based on what his needs were at the time. And I wanted to get your thoughts about that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's exactly where he is. He's trying to decide, between what he needs and what he wants. And he's a little confused about that. And I think a lot of us, find ourselves in those kinds of positions. Even at, I'm in my early 40s now, and I'm like, man, I thought by now I would have had all of these things figured out. But relationships are complicated, and they can continue to be complicated despite what age we're at. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to make the movie, is that I think it was an opportunity to look at like adult relationships, and to kind of, remove some of the mystery around the fact that, like, yeah, we're still allowed to be confused and to be working stuff out, even though we are, in our middle ages.
in our middle ages, and I and I also felt like for my generation, this was Love Jones, and I feel like for this generation, this is this generation's Love Jones. That's what it felt like for me. It had that kind of vibe because it dealt with a certain borough in New York, Brooklyn, and Brooklyn was kind of its own character, so to speak, within the confines of the story. But what I really want to talk to you about, honey, is that scene that y'all did with Cassandra, where she talked and she talked and she talked and she talked. How many times did y'all have to shoot that? Because I can't imagine that was a one take situation.
Let me tell you something about Cassandra Freeman. Cassandra Freeman. So we went to college together. We know each other since we were 17 years old. And Cassandra Freeman is so brilliant. She's so funny, so charming. Basically, what we did was we just gave her, a couple of lines. We're like, okay, this is what the scene's about. This is kind of what we think she's talking about. I said, just do your thing. She was like, really? I said, yeah. Most of that stuff is just her improvising. And we have so much footage of her. It was so hard to decide what to leave in and what to take out because, there was just so much to choose from. But yeah, I think we probably did like maybe 4 takes of that whole thing.
Wow.
So not many at all. So she's a genius.
That made me laugh out loud. I was like, this is pure comedy to me. It was so funny. I know it took 6 years to get it made. And I know eventually you partnering up with Steven Soderbergh was the thing that kind of kicked it over. Why did it take 6 years?
Well, I think the pandemic happened. And so that we were supposed to go just before the pandemic. And then that, that all slowed us down. And then we had a number of other stops and starts. We had at one point we had a financier, and then that person ended up, my camera's moving around like crazy.
I know. I was like, where's your head going?
I know, I didn't even move, but it's like jumping around. Anyway, so it took us a while to get it financed, and then we did like some work on the script, and so that took time. And then we had cast, and then then that cast got big movies, and then they had scheduling conflicts. So it was just all of those things that kind of kept it going back and forth. But all along, I felt like, man, this is something I want to make. This is the kind of part that I want to have a chance to play. And if we don't see it through and find a way to get it done, I don't know that I'm going to get a chance to play this kind of part, like a romantic lead. And so, and I wanted to work with my friends. Nicole Bahari and I have been friends forever. DeWanda and I too. We all came up doing theater, together in New York. And I wanted to work with my people. And to me, it was worth it to keep fighting to get it done for the chance to do that.
I love DeWanda. That's my girl. We always say when we see each other, she's like, we can. She said, I know we can somewhere. I know we related somewhere down the line, but that's my girl. I was happy to see both of those ladies. I love both of them very much. Speaking of you being a romantic lead, I really loved the playfulness that you and Nicole had. Y'all had like insane chemistry. And there's this one scene where y'all are doing this thing like this.
Oh, yeah.
It reminded me so much of this. One of my favorite films is this film with Meg Ryan and Billy Crystal called When Harry Met Sally. And that reminds me so much of the scene of them in the museum playing around. Mm-hmm. I know that you all are friends, but was that, I know that a lot of the scenes in When Harry Met Sally were improv, but was that scene with y'all improv as well?
A lot of it was. I mean, we kind of had the beginning of the scene was written in terms of like, okay, they're in the museum and, they're having a good time. So the like shape of the scene was there. But then, yeah, Nicole and I just naturally have a lot of just chemistry as friends. Like we have a lot of playful banter. We get along really well. And so, yeah, really most of what you see on there is a lot of us improvising. We'll do what's in the script and then kind of keep going sort of thing. And
okay.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Okay. Yeah. I see you. And last but not least, I wanted to ask, to bring it back around to Love Brooklyn. After shooting this, what did you discover that you really loved about Brooklyn?
You know what I love? I love the community. And I think that sometimes it can feel like there isn't community anymore because of the way the neighborhood has been. I'm talking about Bed-Stuy in particular, the way, and you know, in other neighborhoods have been gentrified to the point where sometimes you look around, it's like, man, where the people at? You know, but every now and again, you know, you're reminded. I was reminded that everybody actually is. Folks still are here. For example, when we were trying to find locations to shoot, we couldn't afford to shoot in the, you know, fancy restaurants or the fancy cafes, but reached out to the community and said, hey, look, we're looking for a place. We need a coffee shop. Is anybody open to it? Boom, we had a coffee shop in the same day. My homegirl Kai let us shoot. We need a restaurant. Boom, we can shoot over here. We need a backyard. Hey, man, I got a backyard. It was like that, you know, like that old school community coming together. And then this past weekend, I threw a little get together at my house, kind of in celebration of Love Brooklyn, and to say thank you to some of the people who helped support us. And when I tell you, Carla, that like I invited like 25 people, I had like 175 people in my house, and we had a ball, like just an old school backyard Brooklyn cookout hang. It was so cool. And that reminded me of like the beauty of the community of this neighborhood. And I'll never want to lose that.
Oh, wow. I love that you did that. That is so gracious and cool. And I'm sorry that we didn't meet before because I'm like, where my invitation at?
But listen, we're gonna do
I
another
need
one.
an invitation to the cookout.
You're gonna be we're gonna do another one. Come out. You be ready.
Like, where my invitation to the cookout?
Oh, we got you next time.
Oh, cool. Well, that's it for me, Andre. Thank you so much for giving me your time today. I really appreciate you.
Of course, thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for your support.
No problem at all. I'll see you next time.
All right. See you then.
All right. All right. Now, I know the last part of that kind of froze. I don't know what was happening. And I was like, maybe I'll throw something over it. But, it just wouldn't, me throwing something over it wouldn't have made sense with the audio. So I just left it the way that it was. But again, y'all, Love Brooklyn goes into limited release on August 29th, which is in a couple of days. Please get out and support it. It goes into national release on September 5th. I also want y'all again to check out Zha, which is in theaters right now at A24 joint. The Jussie Smollett documentary is streaming via Netflix. It's crazy as hell, but watch it, y'all. And support AFCA. Support AFCA. Support African American film critics. Please, please, please do that. Check out Relay, which is also in theaters as well. And when I come back next week, I'm going to be talking about what I'm doing at the Telluride Film Festival. I can't say now. I won't be able to say until next week. So it's that this particular festival is always shrouded in mystery. So I'm doing that, and then I'm going to TIFF. I also wanted to tell you guys about, and I was trying to put the poster up while they were having that interview, but for whatever reason, my phone was acting stupid and I wasn't able to do it. But I am, so I say that I sing all the time. And so I'm trying to get back out there and do some things. And on Saturday, October 5th, at the Pico Theater, which is located at 10508 West Pico Boulevard in Los Angeles at 7:30 p.m., I am going to be singing as part of the cast of Miscast. And what that is, very simply put, right singer, wrong song. So let's say I'll just use this song I'm gonna do. Like there's a whole medley from Moulin Rouge. I will never be cast as the lead in Moulin Rouge simply because I got way too many curves and butt, and it's an age thing too. So I am going to be doing a whole number from that as well as some other group numbers. But if you're in the Los Angeles area, come and support a girl. All the proceeds are going to support Project Angel Food. There'll be a pre-bar. Let me see, read this. There'll be a pre-bar sponsored by CS Animal Rescue, and the tickets are $30, and they are available on Eventbrite LA. And you can follow at Miscast LA on Instagram to get more information about it. Again, it's called Miscast. I will be part of the cast on October 5th at 7:30. Please come out and support us if you can. I also wanted to tell you about, let's see, what else did I want to tell you? That I saw Anne Juliet. So Anne Juliet, and I don't have the picture for that, but Anne Juliet has a young lady in it named Rachel Webb, and she's leaving. I believe this weekend is her last couple of performances. She's leaving because she got cast as Apollonia in the Prince musical. So she is leaving her role as Juliet in & Juliet to go play the role of Apollonia in the upcoming Broadway musical that centers around Prince. But I did go to see it to support my friend Teresa Page, who is the producer, who was one of the original producers of the musical when it was in the West End, and she's gone on to produce it on Broadway and in the North American Touring Company, which is out right now. They're doing their last bit of shows at the Amundsen Theater here in Los Angeles, but please check your local listings to see when & Juliet is coming at a theater near you. It is a lot of fun. They do some boy band music. They do a lot of covers of Celine Dion, Britney Spears, Katy Perry. It's just fun. And right now, y'all, we need some fun and we need to laugh and tee-hee and carry on. So with that being said, that is my time. I will see you next week from the mountains of Colorado. And yeah, check out that Jussie Smollett documentary. It's a wild ride. You really want to check it out, though. Thank you so much for tuning in. Oh, let me just give a shout out to those people that commented. Queen to Queen, thank you for subscribing. Brandon, thank you for being true blue and always popping in. And Lavishly Lux Studio, Dallas Wedding Photographer, thank you for popping in. And Four Deuce Films, yes, thank you all so much for popping through and saying hello to your girl. It is much appreciated and much appreciated, and I don't take it lightly. For those of you who may not see this in real time but see it after the fact, let me know your thoughts. I cannot wait to hear what y'all have to say about this documentary, because I'm just like, my jaw is down to my crack. I don't even know what to say about it. Like, honestly, I don't. All right, deuces, love, peace, and hair grease until the next time. I'll see y'all on the flip side. Bye.
Hold up. Wait a minute. I wish you love.